Ever wondered how your favorite candy ends up looking perfect, tasting irresistible, and feeling just right in your hand? Today, we're taking you behind the scenes into the factories where Snickers bars, M&Ms, and Hershey's chocolates are born. This isn't just chocolate. It's a precise symphony of ingredients, machinery, and secret techniques that turn raw materials into the sweet treats you love. Let's begin with Snickers, that classic candy bar made by Mars. At the heart of Snickers is a carefully balanced trio: nougat, caramel, and peanuts, and then all that wrapped in a milk chocolate shell. The process is a masterpiece of food engineering. First, massive mixing tanks combine ingredients for the nougat, sugar, egg whites, and whipped aeration ingredients. This fluffy nougat base is the foundation of the bar's chewy texture. Once mixed, it's deposited onto a moving conveyor belt, forming a continuous strip. Next comes the peanut torture test. Well, not exactly torture, but a precision dance. Roasted peanuts are carefully layered over the nougat strip. These peanuts aren't just thrown on at random. They're measured, distributed, and aligned to ensure every bite gets that signature crunch and nutty richness. After the peanuts are in place, a thin layer of caramel is added, bridging the nougat and the nuts into one unified sandwich. Once that core is built, it's time to give Snickers its chocolate coating. The entire peanut nougat caramel strip moves along into a curtain of melted milk chocolate. That chocolate curtain is more than just a pour. It's part of a carefully controlled system. The chocolate is tempered before it ever touches the candy core. Tempering is a critical step. It ensures the cocoa butter crystals form properly so the final chocolate is glossy, snaps cleanly, and resists bloom. After coating, the bars pass through cooling tunnels. These tunnels are cold, but not too cold, just enough to solidify the chocolate without damaging the texture. Once cooled, the bars are cut into individual portions. They're wrapped, packaged, and boxed with precision. At every stage, there's quality control. Sensors, cameras, and weight checks make sure each bar meets Mars' high standards. Now, let's move to M&Ms, those colorful little button-shaped candies that melt in your mouth but not in your hand. Mars has perfected a very different process for these. It starts with liquid chocolate, made from a blend of cocoa liquor, sugar, milk, and other ingredients. This molten chocolate is carefully mixed in large vats, a stage often called the chocolate tank. Here, ingredients are stirred until they reach the right consistency, then cooled to a precise temperature. Next, the tempered chocolate is molded into small centers. In the case of plain M&Ms, these centers are pure chocolate. In peanut M&Ms, they might enrobe a roasted peanut. For peanut butter M&Ms, there's a peanut butter core covered with chocolate. Once these centers are formed, they harden and then are moved to gigantic rotating coating drums. Inside these drums, the real magic happens: panning. Candy centers spin slowly while a liquid sugar syrup made from sugar and corn syrup is gradually sprayed on. Between each spray, the centers dry, forming a thin shell. This process repeats multiple times so the shell layers build up. Once the shell is thick enough, color is added via a finishing syrup. The candies continue rotating so the color coats evenly, creating the colorful shell we all recognize. With the color on, the M&Ms are almost ready. But there's one more step, the famous M. Each candy piece travels along a conveyor belt under a special rubber roller printer. This machine gently stamps a lowercase m onto each one without cracking the delicate candy shell. After printing, quality control inspects for imperfections, ensuring the EM dash is correctly placed and the shell is smooth. Finally, the M&Ms are packaged. They're weighed, filled into bags, heat-sealed, and then boxed. Now, let's switch gears to Hershey's. The Hershey Company has been around for over a century, and its chocolate-making process has evolved dramatically, but it still respects its roots. Hershey starts with cocoa beans, which are first cleaned, roasted, and winnowed. This removes the hulls and isolates the nibs, the part of the bean that actually becomes chocolate. The nibs are ground into cocoa liquor, then separated into cocoa butter and cocoa powder. These are recombined with milk, sugar, and other ingredients to create what will eventually become milk chocolate. Hershey's has an industrialized high-volume facility where this process is optimized for speed and consistency. But the trickiest part is tempering. Hershey heats and cools the chocolate in a very controlled way so that the correct type of cocoa butter crystals form. This gives the final chocolate its shine, snap, and the texture you expect. Once tempered, the chocolate is ready for molding. Hershey uses large, specialized molds to form bars, kisses, or other shapes. After molding, the chocolate goes through cooling stages so it solidifies quickly without losing its structure. Then the candy is demolded and moved on to packaging. At the Hershey factory, automation is everywhere, but it's blended with tradition. Conveyor belts, robots, and machines fill the packaging lines, but human quality control monitors every batch. Hershey's was one of the first companies to apply mass production techniques to chocolate, and its factory layout still reflects that industrial heritage. Across all three candies, Snickers, M&M's, and Hershey's, the role of temperature control is central. Whether it's tempering chocolate for Snickers and Hershey's, or cooling M&M centers before shelling, precise thermal management ensures quality. For example, controlling the crystallization of cocoa butter via tempering ensures the chocolate has a glossy finish and a satisfying snap when you bite into it. Another critical process common to all three is conching, a technique used to refine the chocolate mixture. Conching involves mixing the chocolate for long periods, smoothing it out, aerating it, and mellowing the flavor by reducing acidity. This stage is crucial for texture and taste. Without it, chocolate would be gritty and harsh. Finally, after production, there's strict quality control. Sensors, cameras, weight checks, and human inspectors work side by side to ensure every candy leaving the factory tastes just like what we expect from the brand. Packaging is done at high speed, but with careful attention. Each Snickers bar is individually wrapped, each M&M bag precisely filled, and each Hershey chocolate product sealed to lock in freshness. When you bite into a Snickers bar, it's not just sugar meeting your taste buds, it's decades of optimization, precision layering, temperature control, and automation. When you pour M&Ms into your hand, you're enjoying a marvel of candy shell engineering, perfect color coding, and printed branding, all manufactured at high volume. And when you unwrap a Hershey's chocolate bar, you're tasting the legacy of industrial innovation, tempered chocolate craftsmanship, and a tradition that began over a century ago. Candy making at this scale is both art and science. Behind the scenes are huge machines, vats of molten chocolate, spinning drums, and constant checks. And yet every bar and every candy is made to feel personal, familiar, and utterly satisfying. The next time you enjoy a Snickers, M&M, or Hershey's chocolate, remember, you're tasting more than sweetness. You're tasting a global journey from raw beans to mass production that preserves the magic in every bite. But what's even more fascinating than the machinery or the automation is the deep chemistry that makes all this possible. Chocolate, after all, is not a simple ingredient. It's a complex emulsion of fats, sugars, milk solids, and cocoa particles, all working together in a delicate balance. When chocolate is melted, cooled, and reshaped during tempering, it can crystallize in 6 different forms, but only one, the beta crystal form, gives chocolate that signature shine and clean snap. Every chocolate factory, from Hershey to Mars, invests millions into perfecting this phase. A few degrees off, and the chocolate can turn dull, crumbly, or develop white streaks known as fat bloom. The caramel inside a Snickers bar is another marvel of food science. It's not just melted sugar. It's a controlled reaction called the Maillard reaction, where sugars and proteins brown together under heat, creating hundreds of aromatic compounds that give caramel its rich, buttery flavor. Engineers must keep the temperature within a narrow range to get that perfect, chewy consistency. Not too hard, not too runny. In fact, caramel for Snickers is cooked in massive stainless steel kettles, and once the viscosity reaches the ideal point, it's poured over the nougat and peanut layer almost immediately, while it's still warm enough to flow and bond. Timing is everything. If the caramel cools even slightly too much, it can separate or harden unevenly, ruining thousands of bars in seconds. On the M&M's side, the focus shifts from chemistry to physics. The panning process is a feat of engineering precision. Each drum can hold hundreds of thousands of tiny chocolate centers, all spinning continuously while thin layers of syrup are sprayed in measured bursts. The air humidity, temperature, and even the rate of rotation must be monitored constantly. Too humid, and the syrup won't dry evenly. Too dry, and the shell can crack. What's more, every color of M&M is coated separately and later blended together. Contrary to popular belief, the color ratios are not equal. Mars adjusts the proportions slightly to make the final mix look more natural to the human eye. It's a subtle psychological trick that's been fine-tuned over decades. And those little white M letters printed on top? That's not ordinary ink. It's an edible, food-safe mixture made of titanium dioxide and starch-based compounds. The printing itself happens at astonishing speed, thousands of candies per minute, with automated cameras ensuring perfect alignment. If the stamp is slightly off-center or double-printed, the candy is discarded before packaging. What's incredible is that even with so many steps, the production loss is tiny. Modern M&M factories have yield rates above 98%, meaning nearly every piece of candy that starts the process makes it to your bag. Hershey's, meanwhile, adds its own signature touch through what's called controlled milk fermentation. The milk used in Hershey's chocolate isn't just pasteurized, it's partially lipolyzed, meaning some of the milk fat is intentionally broken down before mixing with sugar and cocoa. This creates that distinct tangy flavor you only find in Hershey's bars. It's a result of historical adaptation. In the early 1900s, refrigeration was unreliable, so Hershey found a way to preserve milk longer while still making smooth chocolate. Over time, consumers came to associate that slightly sour note with authentic American milk chocolate, and Hershey never changed it. Inside Hershey's modern factories, the conching process, once done by hand, is now performed by massive steel conches, each the size of a truck. They operate continuously for hours, kneading and heating the chocolate until every particle is uniformly coated with cocoa butter. This is where flavor refinement happens. The friction releases volatile acids, softens bitterness, and enhances aroma. A Hershey's quality engineer once compared it to aging wine in fast forward. Every minute spent in the conche makes the chocolate smoother, creamier, and more melt-in-your-mouth delicious. And if you thought the magic ended with wrapping, think again. Packaging chocolate is a science in itself. The films used for Snickers and Hershey's bars are designed to resist moisture, block UV light, and keep the aroma sealed in. Even the printing on the wrapper uses heat-stable inks that won't transfer onto the chocolate if stored in a warm place. For M&M's, packaging lines use automated weighing systems that fill each bag to the exact gram. Optical sensors verify color distribution before sealing, ensuring that no bag leaves the factory missing a key color. What's truly mind-blowing, though, is how sustainable chocolate production is becoming. Major companies like Mars and Hershey are investing heavily in renewable energy and ethically sourced cocoa. In fact, Mars has pledged to use 100% responsibly sourced cocoa by the end of this decade. They've also introduced traceability systems that can track cocoa beans from farms in Ghana or Côte d'Ivoire all the way to the chocolate vats. These initiatives ensure farmers are paid fairly, child labor is reduced, and deforestation is minimized. Even in the factories, energy efficiency is key. The refrigeration systems for cooling tunnels now use advanced heat exchangers that recycle waste heat to pre-warm water or other production areas. Compressed air systems have been redesigned to minimize leaks, saving both electricity and cost. These efforts might not sound glamorous, but they make a massive difference when scaled to billions of chocolate bars a year. And let's not forget about innovation in the recipes themselves. For example, Mars has been experimenting with lower sugar Snickers variants that use soluble fibers and natural sweeteners to reduce calories without changing taste. Hershey's has launched oat-based milk chocolate to cater to plant-based consumers. Even M&M's now come in crispy, brownie, and caramel-filled versions, all made with similar equipment but tweaked production stages. Each new variant requires months of testing, redesigning machinery, and recalibrating coatings. Then there's the role of technology. Artificial intelligence and machine learning have started to play a big role in candy manufacturing. Vision systems equipped with AI can detect minute imperfections invisible to the human eye, predicting when a machine needs cleaning or adjustment before a defect even occurs. Predictive maintenance algorithms help reduce downtime and prevent chocolate flow interruptions that could waste tons of product. It's an extraordinary fusion of tradition and innovation. The same recipes our grandparents loved, now guided by smart algorithms and robotic precision. In the end, whether it's the caramel chew of a Snickers, the colorful crunch of an M&M, or the nostalgic melt of a Hershey's Kiss, each bite connects us to a legacy more than a century old. A story of how humanity learned to turn simple cocoa beans into joy, wrapped in foil. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more deep dives made simple. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. See you in the next one.